There we are. Hey, how you doing? Is anyone there? Oh, here I am, your Sensei Alb, and we've had issues with the old internet because of weather, but it seems to have cleared up, and it's almost 10 p.m. here. So I've tried today to put this, that, and there are little bits scattered all over, and but this is Jimmy Dore, and Jimmy Dore is a stand-up comedian. And so this is your Sensei Alba, me. And this is a Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Alba, a YouTube channel that you find this griot storyteller coming to you. And we have he speaks his mind. And so he's all over the place. He's not left, right. He's not a tribal dude, And so he's talking about Congresswoman Omar, right? Where's the job, the whole thing. Your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try. And what's interesting, I'll just keep going. What's interesting is that when I go on this or I used to do my show off of this. And then they came up about a week or two ago saying, oh, hey, we just made up our minds. If you don't have 1,000 subscribers, you can't do this on phone. You have to do it on a laptop. So I figured out how to do this. My host here at the school said, "Oh, let me help you," and threw everything into a time warp. As good as anything you'd see on Star Trek. And then I had to figure out what YouTube was, and I did it. So the silver lining of that catastrophe is that I learned more about YouTube. And one of the things I've learned is that every time I come on live, I have trouble. This works fine. This works fine when I just watch YouTube. When I want to talk to you and have you talk to me, it doesn't work too good, right? So anyway, so it's now 9:50, and I'm going to play this Jimmy Dore thing. So Jimmy Dore is a stand-up comedian who does political news better than any news company, and really parses out, he was talking about Tucker from Fox. He don't like any of the news guys, but he kind of went straight to, because Tucker basically did the WikiLeaks thing. Basically, Mr. Guy who was staying in a South American consulate in London, finally they got tired of him making a mess, and so they told the police to come and get him, which they did. Now, this guy did not break any laws. All he did was what CNN does, or MSNBC does, or NBC, or ABC, or Fox, and that they get, or the New York Times or the Washington Post. They find news and then they distribute. That's not against the law. Now, stealing the news, big question. So anyway, Tucker went on and really told us any of this, right? He doesn't believe in any of this shit, right? I am just an observer, right? I am just a griot. I tell a story, right? And as I tell the story, little brain cells, and you come up with your own thoughts, and I go, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I don't really judge them. So, I don't judge anything he says, but I really like the way he does this thing. And there's another truth something news, truth flow, truth something. But those kids, they do a really great job. And Truly Gracefulness, she does a great job. And Mr. Crow House, he does a great job. And if you go to my playlist, there are about 20 people that I have put on there. And yes, someone said, oh, you have to put them in categories. So they're very kind of eclectic categories. I mean, most of them is by the names of the people, but others are like, here we go.
So I want to talk about Ilhan Omar and this controversy. You've heard about this, right?
Oh my God!
All right, so
I know, right?
The people have been showing just a part of her speech. So of course, what happened was we got a Muslim American who wears a hijab in Congress, and immediately they started smearing her as like some kind of terrorist sympathizer. Of course, that's what happened, and of course, the Democrats are too big of are in bed with those people doing that to her, and so they're not supporting her like they should. It's disgusting to see. But here's what she said. I'll get so this will give you the full context of what she said, as opposed to that little clip that this was over a month ago that she said this. So it's just making the rounds now. So here we go.
It doesn't matter how good you are. If you one day find yourself in a school where other religions are talked about, but when Islam is mentioned, we are only talking about terrorists. And if you say something, you are sent to the principal's office. So to me, I say raise hell. Make people uncomfortable. Because here's the truth. Here's the truth. Far too long we have lived with it, should be tired of it. CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. So you can't just say that today someone is looking at me strange, that I am going to try to make myself look pleasant. You have to say, this person is looking at me strange. I am not comfortable with it. I am going to go talk to them and ask them why. Because that is a right you have.
So that's what she said. And now people are just taking out the clip and they're trying to say she was downplaying what happened on 9/11. When what it's clear what she was actually doing was trying to frame the experience of a Muslim in America and why that's important and why that they're all being held accountable for the actions of some. That's what she was saying. That they're all now looked at a certain way as second-class citizens because of the actions of some. Isn't that what she was saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's how Fox News got upset about it. Let's see.
Freshman Democratic lawmakers now rushing to Omar's defense. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez attacking the New York Post for responding.
Well, first of all, do you see what the Post did? So
Disgusting.
here's what the New York Post did. It said, Representative Ilhan Omar, 9/11 was some people did something. And here's your something. So do you see what's going on? Like, that's happening. Like, that's gross. But, you know, after 2.5 years of Russiagate pushed by the left, so the whole country's lost their fucking mind. So the whole country. And the only people saying are the people sitting in my garage in Pasadena. So that happened. And by the way, she's on their side. And here we go.
Omar with this cover. Watch.
Printing on the front page to circulate all around New York City an image that is incredibly upsetting and triggering for New Yorkers that were actually there and were actually in the radius, that woke up one morning or were in their schools and didn't know if they were going to see their parents at the end of the day, to elicit such an image for such a transparently and politically motivated attack on Ilhan. We are getting to a level where this is an incitement of violence against progressive women of color.
And Rashida Tlaib also claiming Omar is being unfairly targeted.
They do this all the time to us, especially women of color. They do that. They take our words out of context because they're afraid, because we speak truth. We speak truth to power. This is just pure racist act by many of those, hateful acts by those, because she does speak truth when it talks about different issues that they don't disagree with. And I'm really outraged.
One of the first people to come out against Hero, telling him to, quote, go do something about domestic terrorism. Omar also dragging President George W. Bush into the controversy with this tweet. The people and the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon. Was Bush downplaying the terrorist attack? What if he was a Muslim? So a lot to unpack here.
So there you go. So that's what's happening. People are pretending she said something she didn't. I'll show you a little bit more. Here's how Morning Joe. So Trump was giving a speech on, and he said this.
Special thanks to Representative Omar of Minnesota.
First of all, he's at the Republican Jewish coalition.
Right.
And he's going to do exactly what he seems to be castigating Ilhan Omar for. Watch this.
Special thanks to Representative Omar of Minnesota. Oh, I forgot. She doesn't like Israel. I forgot. I'm so sorry.
Those sarcastic comments from President Trump about Democratic Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar in front of a conservative Jewish group on Saturday came less than a day after a New York man was charged with threatening her life. The man was charged with threatening to assault and murder a United States official for a phoned-in threat he allegedly made last month. He told investigators that he was a patriot, that he loves the president, and that he hates radical Muslims in our government. This is according to the FBI affidavit. Congresswoman Omar responded to both Trump's attack as well as the death threat leveled against her with a bilingual tweet. "My Lord, forgive my people, for they do not know." Meanwhile, in that same speech, Trump implied dual loyalty by American Jews to Israel, which is incidentally the same anti-Semitic trope for which Congresswoman Omar has been criticized.
I stood with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu. I stood with your Prime Minister at the White House to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan.
Watching this, it just seems so beyond, just far from who we are.
Well,
No, he
at that
thinks
point-
he's a comedian, I think.
No. When he says your prime minister, he's being bigoted. That is, again, the president who actually reveals himself to believe that Jews in America have dual loyalty, and if you were a Jew, United States of America, that your prime minister must be Benjamin Netanyahu. That is wildly offensive. And again, it is the same sort of anti-Semitic trope that many Republicans were attacking Congresswoman Nichols. Feel free to talk about that, but also here's yet another example of the President of the United States inspiring his supporters to threaten politicians, to threaten members of the press, to threaten people on the president's enemies list.
What about Julian Assange? What about that? Putting a journalist. Let me just get your reaction to this, Abby.
My blood is boiling. That's my reaction. I mean, this